The Wally Show podcast is our daily radio show heard live through the WayFM app each morning and hosted by Wally, Gavin, and me, Betty Rock. For more fun, be sure to connect with us at wayfm.com/Wally.
The Wally Show podcast is brought to you by Colorado Christian University Online, where you can earn a degree online just like Betty Rock. You can learn more at ccu.edu/Wally. Serving it sunny side up. It's News-ish with Betty Rock on The Wally Show.
It always seems like the biggest inconveniences come at the worst inconvenient times, like your kid getting sick or chipping a tooth during the late night hours. And that's why people were asked to share which places they wish were open 24/7. So here's what we had to say. Supermarkets.
Okay.
You find yourself, making that birthday cake at the last minute and you're one egg short.
Yep.
And you're like, ah.
Do you remember when Walmarts used to be open 24 hours? Most Walmarts around us are not anymore. The pandemic. The pandemic changed all of that. Ruined us all forever.
Ridiculous. Pharmacies.
Yes.
And yeah, because let's say you're giving your kids some medicine and then they knock it out of your hand, and what are you supposed to do?
Or you're sick at 2 a.m, you need to get something.
What do you do? Your primary care doctors, we wish they were open 24/7.
They're hard enough to get to anyway.
Just somewhere else in pain.
Yeah, I'm going to float this by my dentist next time I see him and see what he thinks. I don't think he'll go for it. They like their Fridays off, too. Yeah. Seeing tears of joy definitely makes you feel good, and especially when they're associated with something faith-related. Hey, it's the Wally Show on Uplifting WayFM, and I saw the just coolest TikTok video the other day. So it's this lady, and there's singing in the background, and this lady is just crying, and you look at the text, and the text says, "I have been praying for my family's salvation, and today I heard this." And it's a worship song being played in her house, but her mom is singing along with this worship song. And she's just like, this daughter has tears coming down her face because it's like she's seeing God moving in the life of her family, and her prayers may be coming to fruition. And she says, so with that said, let this be a sign. Don't give up on your family. Keep being faithful and obedient. God will make a way. Because it's real easy when you've prayed for something for any length of time, and sometimes it's 10 minutes. You're like, why haven't you answered me, Lord? Why hast thou forsaken me? And then you've got people that have prayed for years for something faithfully. But I think her point is remain faithful and obedient in your own faith, regardless of the circumstance and the timing not looking like you want it. Keep showing up with God. Keep showing up in your faith.
Ooh, that is a difficult one, though.
It is.
Speaking from experience, there's things that I've prayed for that still I don't have answers to. And so it's hard to keep believing or keep coming. Like, I feel like a broken record at times, But sometimes you need to be reminded. You need to hear other people's testimonies, like this woman on TikTok. You need to be reminded that people can speak life into you through their own testimonies.
Yeah, and so that's what we want to do here is we want to talk about that continued prayer success story. Because I think that a lot of people, like Betty's talking about, are in that place where they're praying for something. It just hasn't come to fruition in any way. Yes, no, maybe it's just there, And so I would love to hear your stories, because your story might be the thing that inspires somebody to keep being obedient, to stay in their faith, and to keep praying when it doesn't seem like it works or it matters, And so maybe you prayed for somebody for 5 years or whatever, and I'd love to hear your story of how that played out and what you learned from it as well. So here we go. 855-33-WayFM is the number. Man, we love having you on your phone on the show with us. And your story today, too, might be just the thing that somebody needs to hear to encourage them in their faith as well. So 855-33-WayFM. Hopefully, Greg, you can give us some insight with your situation and your story that might encourage somebody today.
Yeah, no problem. So for me, my prayer I'd have to say the past 10 years now has been the prayer of enough. And when I say enough, I'm talking about, financial security. I've never wanted to make excess. I've never wanted to be like balling rich, but, enough. Having a wife and kids, you You want to make enough that if they need clothes, you can get it. Things go up in their school, you can get it, you know? And for a long time, like many people, I'm not alone here, it has been an absolute struggle, Wally, you know, to the point where as a teacher on summer vacations, I'm just kind of lying on my couch in dread, panic, like, oh my gosh, am I going to get it through another week? But like, I have just been patient, have fought through a lot of different storms, and, you know, I'm blessed that I'm in a position this summer where I'm teaching summer school. But it makes me wonder, why wasn't I looking at this then? But at the same time, all these other storms going on gave me the time I needed to go through it. So when I was praying for enough, that enough ended up actually being the faith that I needed enough of, knowing that God was going to get me through all this as long as I gave him the patience required.
So, Becca, what happened to you?
I am in recovery. My prayer is actually a prayer that my mom prayed for me for a very long time. So years ago, I was living for the Lord. I wanted to be in mission work, and then a lot of trauma happened in my life. And instead of running to the Lord, I ran to addiction. And so for over 15 years, my mom prayed steady for me, praying that I would run back to the Lord. I didn't want to hear it. She would tell me, hey, I'm praying for you, and it just made me angry. Well, in 2017, I'd had enough. I had been arrested. I lost everything in my life, my kids. I was homeless. And I remember my mom had to hang up on me that day in the jail cell. And years later, I had a conversation with her about how much it meant to me that she had hung up on me that day. And she had let me know, hey, Becca, I was praying for you over 15 years, and God had told her to let me go, let him deal with me. And that's what she did, and God was able to work in my life. And now I get to help other people in recovery and in addiction. And I'm so thankful for my mom that she never gave up on me.
There is nothing like a mom in prayer. Like, moms will pray for their kids without stopping. Dads will start praying and then think about mowing the lawn and like other things, and we get distracted. But moms are in it, man. Prayer room style.
Becca, do you feel like the example that your mom showed for you and praying for you, is this something that you do for your own kids now?
Definitely, and trying to be a testimony, like a good example, because I know that my kids are watching me, whether it looks like it or not. I was watching my mom. Even when she got on my nerves, I knew that she loved me.
Betty's love of crime shows has me concerned because I think that she's not learning how to protect herself, but rather how to set me up for a crime.
Oh, I for sure am.
It's a Gone Girl situation is what I'm thinking.
I'm glad I've got you right where I want you.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. You know, you need someone in your life that will set you up for success, not failure.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I felt with CCU. I mean, I felt intimidated considering going back to school as an adult after being out for so long, but I was set up for success with CCU from my first conversation all the way to graduation. Most classes are only 5 weeks long, which means you can earn your degree and still have time to do whatever you want.
Yeah, 5-week classes, that's even good for people with like ADHD. Like for me, I know I needed short classes so I could focus when I went back to school because Betty Rock and I kind of lived the same life.
Find out more about how you can pursue your passion and find your calling with Colorado Christian University at online.ccu.edu. Colorado Christian University is a nonprofit impact partner.
It's nice that there are still stories like this in the world.
A definite breakthrough step in home entertainment.
It's News-ish on The Wally Show.
There is a woman who is so thankful that the business she was in was located right next to a karate dojo. A man attacked her and she screamed, but a family of Taekwondo teachers in the business next door heard her cries for help and they sprang into action. This is the moment if you go to karate class that you live for. Like, you want to be able to try out all this stuff you've been practicing for years in real life and maybe subsequently be a hero too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's what karate is to me. It's hero fuel.
Totally.
And that's why I need to start taking karate classes because I'm an amateur first responder. I'd love to be an amateur black belt and just kind of show up. So maybe I'll just watch karate on YouTube. But
That's good enough.
So this family runs over there and they witness the attack in progress, and then they're all 4 of them are 4th degree black belts as well. So they spring into action. One does a foot sweep, a la Johnny Sweep the Leg. Exactly, Karate Kid, great reference. The other does a knee strike, followed by a low roundhouse kick, and then topped off with a tornado kick. Impressive.
Are those all real?
Those are all real. No, all of those are really real. And to know how I know that, I looked it up because the regular story is boring. So they walk in there, see it happening. The dad grabs the guy by the shirt and holds him down for 10 minutes. Bummer.
Wow.
Like if you are a karate person, again, you didn't get to actually do karate. You actually laid on somebody. You know?
So they didn't do it.
Yeah. So they just held him.
So does that just go to prove that karate doesn't do anything?
I don't know. It seems like it might not be like all that useful.
You would think if they are karate professionals, they would do the karate stuff, but just to sit on him?
Yeah, like I would have pulled him off the guy and then just looked at him and done a Bruce Lee move where Bruce Lee extends his hand and then he just does his fingers like, come on. Like, let's do this. Let's rumble.
It's funny how secure you are in your abilities.
And my lack of abilities, absolutely.
Because in that instant, the guy would be like, and just smack you.
Exactly, just drop me. So, I mean, if you're them, you're still got to be a little bit bummed that you didn't get to use your karate skills. You feel good that you helped somebody. Like, you saved this woman's life. That's great. But then you're like, well, what do you want to do? I guess let's go back and break some boards, and that's what they did. Go back and kick some boards.
Wow.
So, but anyway,
well,
a good story nonetheless.
I guess.
But the movie will be way more exciting because the movie will have all those kicks in it for sure. Johnny! You want people to like the things you like, but sometimes you find out that they don't like it at all. And it's harder when it's your spouse. Hey, it's The Wally Show on Uplifting Way FM, and that's the position I'm in. I found some joggers the other day at Old Navy. I'm like, ooh, I really like these.
And if you don't know what joggers are, they are like a loose type fitting pant.
Yeah.
They look like what a young man would wear.
Exactly. And they do come down skinny at the ankles.
Which is what you love.
Yeah, all my hotkeys are hit on these. And so
only thing missing is the age.
Yeah, exactly. So I buy a pair of joggers, and then I'm like, well, these are nice gray joggers, but they have blue and black as well.
Oh.
So I bought...
Why not get all three?
Exactly. So I bought 3 pairs of joggers.
Nice.
Okay?
Okay.
My wife, come to find out, my wife is not a fan of joggers for some reason.
Oh.
I still don't know why.
And you, for a long time, I feel like when I first got here, purely skinny jeans. But then you sort of dipped your toe into the jogger world.
Yeah, like I still
No
love
pun
skinny
intended.
jeans. Yeah, exactly. I still love skinny jeans.
Wait, was she there with you when you bought the pants?
She was, because there was not altercation, that's a strong word. There was a discussion prior to purchasing said jogger pants about a week earlier when I went to church and I had a pair of jogger pants on and she wanted me to change.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
but can she, so she was there when you bought the 3 pairs of pants that she does not like. So she allowed it to happen.
Yes.
But then she also can't explain why she doesn't like them.
Never heard an explanation.
That doesn't make sense.
Welcome to marriage. I'm not sure. And my wife is so unbelievably cool about so many other things. Like, she lets me play my video games whenever I want, as long as I want. Lets me go foil. Lets me play pickleball or go. Like, she's great.
Sounds
okay.
like she's the head of the house.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And so I love that. So that's why this is so weird. Like, why she's so invested in this decision of joggers. She's just not a fan of the joggers. And I got to tell you, selfishly, they look great. I know that I'm wearing these things.
So
okay?
just because she doesn't like them does not mean that you won't wear them.
No, and see, that's the thing with her. Like, she'll ask me if I like something. I'm like, I'm not a fan. Mm-hmm. And then she won't wear it. And I'm like, wear it. It's okay. She's like, no, I don't want to. No. And I'm like,
so she's hoping because she's not a fan of your joggers that you won't wear them.
Maybe so.
But it's actually the opposite. It makes you want to wear them even more.
I doubled down. I bought 3 pairs. It's like, come on, woman, you know me. So I am curious about this for you, okay? My spouse is not a fan of my blank. How do you fill that in? Could be your Star Wars collection of action figures. My spouse is not a fan of my. And now you can be a lady and tell this story. A guy, you can tell this story because I think we all in our marriages have those things that our spouse is just not a fan of something that we do or own, maybe. So, okay, 855 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. I'd love to fill in the blank with you on this and see if it makes as much sense as mine does. What is your husband not a fan of? Or are you not a fan of his?
I have a Hello Kitty collection. I love Hello Kitty. And I'm 49 years old, and I was born in Korea, so of course I love Hello Kitty. So I have all this Hello Kitty stuff, and he's just like, OMG, why Hello Kitty?
Okay, so I get when people say they have a collection, that can mean one of two things. It could mean I have this one little shelf that's dedicated to my collection, or it could mean I have a whole room dedicated to my collection. So in your case, Teresa, which is it?
Not quite a room, but more than a shelf.
Okay, well, that doesn't seem too far out of bounds. That's not a full-blown obsession yet. You know, you're working towards it.
I also have tattoos of Hello Kitty, too.
Now it is. Okay. Now it is an obsession.
Okay, we leaped over the line.
Yeah, we did.
Why do you like Hello Kitty so much? I mean, I think it's cute, too, but I don't know if I get a tattoo of her.
Like I said, I was born in Korea, so that's just something that I learned to love as a child. And then I left Korea when I was a child at 5, and it just brought back memories.
Your husband is looking at this all wrong, because forever, Christmas, birthday, Valentine's Day, anniversary, you are the easiest person to shop for. All he has to do is find any collectible Hello Kitty thing, and you're going to love it. Like, his life is so easy if he would just look at it that way.
And he does.
Betty's job, amongst all the jobs she has, is to help you. That's what we've tasked her with. Hey, it's the Wally Show on Uplifting Way FM, and that's why we do the scoop, where she finds something that can make your life a little bit better, and she shares it with you. So, Lady Rock, what do you have the scoop on today?
I have the scoop on something that will help you fall asleep quicker and lose weight.
Oh, you had me at lose weight.
Get going right now.
You buried the lead. That should be the first thing, and fall asleep quicker. I have the thing that will help you lose weight and fall asleep quicker. Fall asleep, great. What's that weight thing?
Okay, so all it involves is, studies do show that when you do your nighttime routine, like washing your face, brushing your teeth, it could amp you up again, and then it makes it harder for you to fall asleep. So instead, they say, brush your teeth, wash your face, take a shower, do all that about 30 minutes or even more before going to sleep. That way you still have time to wind down and fall asleep quicker.
Now, I do understand that, because I won't take a shower like before I go to bed for like if I'm in that 30-minute window, then I won't, because I will stay. It wakes me up. So
okay, so you get it? Yeah.
I totally get that. But where's this weight thing?
So the earlier you can get it done, the better.
Yeah.
Now, the weight part comes in with brushing your teeth.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
When you brush your teeth earlier, you're not going to be tempted with that nighttime little snack.
Yep.
You're not going to go over to the refrigerator and grab something that you know, because then you're like, I got to brush my teeth again. So it's a trick on your brain, okay? You doing your nighttime routine early gives you the better chance of falling asleep quicker and losing weight.
It is crazy that this does work, because I actually do this. My wife actually does this, especially if we're dieting. We'll brush our teeth early, and so you're like, it's almost like a force field. You like go to the fridge, and you're like, I'm gonna get some of that pudding, and you're like, oh, my teeth have been brushed, and like you, for whatever reason, you're like, I cannot get to the fridge.
Right.
And really, I mean, you could literally just go back in and brush your teeth, but there's something about it that you're like, I don't want to do that twice.
Right, exactly. So the next time you find yourself, you know, saying, man, I wish I could lose some weight, and I wish I could fall asleep quicker.
Yeah.
Just brush your teeth sooner.
Yeah, I might have to brush my teeth 3 times a day. That's the only way I'm going to survive this thing and lose this weight.
Things you didn't know you needed to know today. It's News-ish with Gavin.
It is time to buckle up, because we are about to take the deep dive into election season. Presidential debates do begin next week, and I assume we're about to experience plenty of strife and opinionated division and probably yelling. And one thing I'm sure we'd all love is if we had the ability to trust every word we ever heard out of a politician's mouth.
That's a problem. It's gotten so bad, I don't trust anything that anyone says, and I don't trust the news to report it accurately anymore. The news used to be it was impartial.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Not even close. But one country, unfortunately, it's in the UK, it's Wales, is working towards just that, the ability to trust what their politicians say. They are debating a new bill that would make it illegal for politicians to knowingly lie.
I love this.
If it becomes a law, Wales would be the first country in the world to introduce criminal sanctions
for
lying politicians. It feels like the kind of thing that would just snap us back into a better world and a better reality. Yeah. They do say that the only problem is that for this to become a law, Welsh politicians would have to support it.
Yeah.
And are politicians going to support something that basically kind of constricts their ability?
Here's what'll happen is they'll put it up for vote, and then a bunch will shoot it down, but then some will vote for it because they know it's not going to pass.
Sure.
But they want
Makes
to
them
look
look
to
good.
their constituents. Hey, I voted for that. And everyone that voted against it, they're liars. Don't trust them, you know? And it's really, really sad that this is where we are, even in other places with politics as well. People just can't tell the truth anymore. And like for me, I've long since held that we should have a morality clause for our elected officials. I mean, you look at all the things that they do and have done. I know people are human and they're fallible and they make mistakes. Absolutely. But a pastor messes up, he's removed from the pulpit. Yeah. If you are a congressman or a congresswoman and you mess up, you should be removed from that position, because if you are going to cheat on your wife, what else are you going to cheat on? Like, honestly, that's how I look at it, and I think they should have a morality clause.
I hate to say it, though, but I'm afraid that if we had one of those morality clauses, we wouldn't have anybody.
We wouldn't have anyone to run the country.
Right. Like, who's going to do it then?
As sad as it is, you're absolutely right. But then we'd start all over again, and we'd maybe get some people in there that should be in there that actually govern the right way with a moral compass and that truly have the best interest of the people that they govern in heart and forefront in their platform, but they don't, unfortunately right now. But Wales, I love it. I there's no way that passes, but I'd love to see it happen.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
We have a prayer wall where you can post prayer requests and pray for people, and we have a pastor who oversees all of that, Pastor Chad, who was a delight to have him here years ago. When they first hired him, I was nervous. I thought they were hiring him as an intervention for me, and that it turns out not to be true, which is great.
Or I'm just that good that you don't know.
That might be true. He gets me to open up about a lot of things. And so he's constantly on our prayer wall, and we talk about the stuff that is going on there every week, and you can be a part of it by simply texting the word pray to 91979. We'll send you a link, so if you have something to put on there, or if you want to just be praying for people, that's really cool too.
There's so much power when we share what's going on in our lives, because it opens up for people maybe what's going on in their life too. And this morning I was on the prayer wall, and I noticed this from an anonymous person that said their prayer request is that I won't need a nightlight to sleep anymore. And I thought, it just kind of struck me. I'm like,
that could have been from my daughter or my wife.
I hope it's from a kid.
I know. No, it could have been my.
But you never know, right?
My wife takes a nightlight when we travel.
That figures. But I just have been thinking about this a lot, because one of my kids struggles with this a lot. Like, he struggles with his sleep. He struggles with a ton of anxiety around sleep. And just even the idea of having a light on in the room, all the conditions need to be perfect. But this past week, I went with my family to camp, and he was able to experience God in a new way, and he was able to share a little bit of what went on at camp.
So I was saying the prayer. While I was saying it, I felt God and heard God say, Zion, trust you are never alone. So that really stuck out to me, because even in the good days, even in the bad days, no matter where you are, God is always going to be with you. Like, if I have been with my anxiety, God's always with me. No matter what, He's with you.
There you go. Like, that's got to make you as a dad feel good that he realizes that he's not alone, that the things you're breathing into him about God being with him all the time, even in the midst of anxiety, is there. That's got to make you feel good.
Well, what even pressed on our family a little bit more was after he shared that with the youth group this past week, a ton of kids came up and just said, Like, thanks for sharing that. I struggle with anxiety too. And
Nice.
so sometimes when we share our conflict or share our issues or share what's going on in our life, we don't realize like we're actually encouraging other people who are in the midst of that to open up and share or even talk about it. And that's what I love about people sharing their testimonies face to face. But that's also why our prayer wall is such a powerful thing, because people are there just sharing what's on their heart, what's going on in their lives. And you don't realize as you're praying for them, you're encouraged because you're like, man, I struggle with that too, but I don't ever talk about it. Yeah. So there's another reason to not only go to the prayer wall, but go and share, because someone may be encouraged by what you're going through and may find the confidence to be able to ask for prayer for it as well.
Yeah, and while you're there, say a prayer too for somebody else. Like it helps you in ways that aren't always understandable, but that's the way God works. And so it's our prayer wall. If you want to check it out, be part of it, just text the word pray to 91979. YouTube makes things look so easy, and then you try it and it's like, nope, I cannot do it. Hey, it's the Wally Show on Uplifting Way FM, and I came across this thing that has other things in life that seem easy, but they're actually more difficult, and I know one on here instantly is chopsticks.
Oh.
Chopsticks seems like you should be able to just grab them and work them inherently. You put your finger somewhere in the middle, chop, chop, chop. I'm eating some sticky rice. I cannot do chopsticks to save my life. I try to pick stuff up, it flips out of it, and I end up, if I'm ever in a place that doesn't have a fork, I stab my food, and that's fine with chicken, but with rice, next to impossible.
Well, and people who do know how to use chopsticks also feel like they are a little high and mighty.
Yes.
Too. They always, oh, you can't use chopsticks. You're like, man,
Yeah.
sorry that a fork is so much easier.
I worked with a guy back in mainstream radio, and like he was like this Hesher kid, and like he would bring his own chopsticks to work and eat with chopsticks every day. You're like,
Oh,
so
come on.
pretentious, man.
Get over yourself.
But he was but we love this kid because he was such a bizarre dude. You know, you let him do it, but other people, if I had tried it, I would have been a target.
I think there are other things though that may seem simple to some but harder for others. Like for me, whistling. I can't whistle? I can't whistle.
Ooh, wow. That's Gavin.
Okay.
Try it.
Try.
Wow.
I mean, that one.
It
no.
was kind of.
Nah-ish.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
can't.
I get
do it.
chopsticks, but that's just.
Yeah. We're going to judge you on that one. It's crazy. Who can't whistle?
Jeez.
All right, so here, let's open this up. We'll make Betty feel better about her disability. 855-33-WAY-FM. 855-33-WAY-FM. What is that thing that you've encountered that seemed really easy, but then you found out it was way more difficult? My wife found this out with paddleboarding. It seems easy. You stand on it, you paddle nice and slow. Everybody's going really slow. And when it starts to wobble a little, wobble, 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 baby, and you're in, you know? And so that would have been hers. So what's yours? 855-33-WAY-FM. We found out recently that Betty Rock has a disability, and that is her inability to whistle. Like, I never knew this about you. Yeah.
It's better.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's bad, but like you can't. You'd never get anyone's attention.
Oh no,
with that.
not even close.
Well, hey, it's the Wally Show on Uplifting Way FM, and I had come across this thing that it was a list of things that seem easy but are more difficult than you think. Like, can you guys shuffle cards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really easy. Okay, I could not shuffle cards for the longest time.
It took me a long time to get there, too.
And then I started hanging out with my wife and her family, who apparently are grifters and and card sharks. And I had to learn how to shuffle cards. Now I can do the bridge and everything, you know. But I always struggled through that. Cutting a straight line with scissors. It seems so easy.
Is that even possible? I don't think that's humanly possible.
Yeah. Or, the hula hooping. Like, I don't understand hula hooping.
Oh, I'm a pro.
And you have no hips. I don't understand it.
It's all about the motion.
I guess so. I cannot keep a hula hoop up on my body for more than 2 revolutions, and then
you
it's
would
down.
think
Yeah.
that you could. But
Yeah, because these hips don't lie, and like I got some moves, but no, cannot do it at all. So that's what we're talking about here. Is those things that seem easy but ultimately are difficult. So what's yours, Desiree?
I can't snap my fingers.
You can't snap your fingers. Well, Betty Rock can't whistle. So why do you think this is?
I have no clue. And as a mother, you want to be able to snap your fingers at your kid?
Yeah.
No.
That's so funny because I was literally going to say, well, what has this left you out of? What have you missed out on? And I was thinking, I can't enjoy music like everyone else.
Oh,
Snap
yeah.
my fingers. She's like, no, I want to snap at my little unruly monsters and get them back in line.
I came here in a time machine that you invented. Great Scott! Now I need your help to get back in time.
Well, it is Friday, and that means one thing and one thing only. It's time to flashback, and we are going back in time musically, and we need someone to tell us where to go nicely, and today that is Christina. Christina, how are you?
Great. How are you doing?
We are so good. Now, we love to have people take us back in time musically, and I know we got held up at the station here, and I know you were waiting on us, but that's going to happen in
It was
Time
Gavin's
Machine.
fault.
Absolutely. If we have to stop one more time for that boy to tinkle. Anywho, we are going to go back in time, and all we need you to do is tell us what song you want to hear and why.
I want to hear Need You Now by Plum.
Okay, now, Betty Rock, what year do we need to go back to?
We're going back all the way to 2013. 2013 was the first year that Duck Dynasty made their debut.
Really?
Yeah, Uncle Si
That's one of them DEDs. Don't ever do.
warmed his way into all of our hearts.
Who would have ever thought that they would build anything, honestly? Well, there you go. So now, Christina, all the way back to 2013 with Plum, Need You Now. Why do you want this song?
Well, it really helped me get sober and then start to realize Christians aren't crazy and start to believe in God. I had been an alcoholic a little bit, but then it got really bad when my house burned down and I just dipped into a really dark time of my life.
How did this song, were there certain lines of it that really spoke to you that helped you through that difficult time?
I think it was the part that said, everybody has wounds. I didn't feel so alone. And then with each line, it was I need you now. And I was able to, let go a little bit of my pain every time I heard the song.
And I'm sure it wasn't you flip a switch and...
Instantaneously.
Yeah, it took time.
Oh, yeah. It took probably 3 years. But it got me listening to AFM, which changed my life.
Man, well, that's great. And I love that you found this song and it had that kind of an impact on you. And that's the beauty of the songs we play. They have meaning and they have depth. And in this case, they're timeless because that message for you, mired down in your alcoholism in 2013, is just important today for somebody to hear. It's I Need You Now by Plum for Christina, our Flashback Friday song.
Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.
Uplifting Way FM. This is The Rock Report with Betty Rock.
The Kardashian-Jenner sisters have made a name for themselves by being content creators, models, and business starters.
Sure.
I mean, you name it, they've done it. You would think with so much money, they would have it all, but on the most recent episode of The Kardashians, we saw the complete opposite. The youngest sister, named Kylie, was seen breaking into tears with her sister Kendall over some social media comments that Kylie read about herself and the way others were criticizing how she looks.
Fascinating to me.
So Kylie is 26 years old.
Okay.
She's got 2 kids. She started getting cosmetic work done on herself at a very young age.
Why?
Well, I read a little bit about it. So she had what she considered thin lips.
Okay, but that's the way the Lord made you. It's okay. They're not horrible.
A boyfriend pointed it out to her, and it just stuck with her, and so she started getting lip filler.
No.
And honestly, I mean, she's gotten so much work done that she looks like a completely different person now. And it's sad because, I mean, she was already pretty to begin with, but being insecure can lead you to do many things you thought you wouldn't do.
And when you have money, it becomes a lot easier to just say yes to those things.
Exactly. Well, Kylie saw others commenting on how she looked at a recent event, and they weren't saying good things, making her break out into tears. And if she thought that those tears would make others feel bad for her situation, it didn't work.
I know. There's some people when they cry, it's rocket fuel for my soul. On some of the TV shows I watch that are like just dysfunctional people making bad decisions. You're like, you kind of deserve that one.
Well,
but this one is sad to me.
Yeah, if anything, it made things worse. Criticizing Kylie for getting work done at an early age, and then she started lying about it, saying that she wasn't getting work done. Well, a lot of people blame her for making young, impressionable girls believe that this is the way you should look, even though it was, for most of us, unattainable because we don't have that much cash.
Right.
But because she started doing all this work on her face, on her body, and now she's still not meeting the requirements of the general public.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Right.
And ultimately it comes down to you have to be secure in yourself and who you are. But it's a hard lesson. I mean, she's 26 years old, and we lose the fact that she is still a human being.
Exactly.
But people behind a computer screen, they get so much courage, and they think that they can say whatever they want to say. But, I mean, she does read these things.
It is sad that she doesn't see her value, that her value is skin deep, unfortunately, and that's what she has internalized and what she feels is reality, and that you just want so badly for someone to say, that's not what God sees you as. That's not what he intended for you. Look at how he sees you. Look, open up the Bible. You're fearfully and wonderfully made, and it's like maybe that would change your perspective a little bit about what beauty is.
Well, and I think, too, that it's a good lesson in that if you feel like you're less than because you don't look like Kylie and Jenner, or you don't look like Kim Kardashian, well, they're not happy with themselves either.
Right.
So, I mean...
find your worth somewhere else.
Yeah, your worth is inside, not on the outside.
Well, there you go. That's going to do it for your Rock Report. Thank you, Lady Rock.
So what is TikTok and how do you use it?
So there's this preacher, kind of a street preacher guy on TikTok that I really like. His name's Kelly K. This is The Wally Show on Uplifting Way FM. And I've used his stuff before on the show. And he always has an interesting take on stories in the Bible that I've heard 100 times. Like the story in Matthew of Jesus walking on the water. And most preachers teach it like, if you keep your eyes on Jesus, you won't sink like Peter. So there you go. Pretty basic sermon. You've heard it 1,000 times. Nothing wrong with it. It's a great sermon. But there's more to it because the story is also in Mark 6. And it says, Jesus saw his disciples in their boat. They were struggling in a storm. And when he saw them, he came toward them around 3 a.m. walking on the water. And he intended to go past them. That's what it says in Mark. And I've never heard that before. And this is him kind of breaking down why that was.
Oh, son, did you just catch that? All right, Jesus, you see us. We're struggling. We're fighting for our lives. Please help us. And here comes Jesus, walking past them. Look, let's be real today. You've been crying out to God. You need a miracle. You need an answer. You need help. And it feels like he is just walking past you. Jesus, why? Why would you walk past them? Those are your best friends, your disciples. You see, the reason that Jesus never intended to stop was because the plan never changed. You see, Jesus told them, get in the boat. I'll meet you at the other side. He didn't say unless a storm comes. He didn't say unless the wind and the waves get so bad that you can't make it. No. He said, I'll meet you on the other side. You see, the best part of the story is it says he intended to walk past them, but that's not what he did. You see, even though Jesus knows he doesn't need to stop for you, that the plan hasn't changed, he still will stop for you because he does see you and he loves you more than you even know. Yeah, you're in a storm today. But just remind the devil, the plan never changed, sucker. I'm going to go ahead and meet Jesus with my promise on the other side.
I love that. I've never heard that before. He intended to walk past them, but he didn't. He stopped in the middle of their storm. Like that, to me, is altering as far as the way you perceive Jesus and your troubles,
Who knew that TikTok could preach to you?
I know, and that's what I love about it. If you find the right algorithm, there's things on there more than dances and cats. It's pretty great. So, that's a guy named Kelly K on TikTok, and I just thought it was really good. I wanted to share it with you. When you think you really know someone, it's great. But if you think you really know someone on this show, you can actually win a prize. We're doing Who on the Show here on Uplifting Way FM and The Wally Show. And all you have to do is tell us who on the show is most likely to. We're all going to vote on it as well, and if you match the majority, you get a point. If we don't have a consensus, then how could you possibly know? So you'll also get a point for that. So your odds at winning this game are pretty good, especially if you've listened to the show for any length of time. Let's do a practice round here. I'm just curious. Who on the show tries to act poor? Who on the show tries to act poor? We'll all get our guesses down. And again, we can say ourselves too, so you know that going in. Okay, everybody got your guesses down?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with you, Gavin. Who did you say?
Oh, I'm gonna go with you got Betty.
Yeah,
I guess. I don't have an insane amount of stuff to back that up with, but you don't buy a lot of things for yourself. But I know you're frugal.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, just buy it.
Yeah, I'm going with Betty too, because Betty is. She always says, I'm just a single girl and I got to fend for myself. She is squirreling away money like nobody's business. And then she's like, well, I can't pay for that. Why? Well, I'm going to, here's what we're going to do. I know we all take turns buying breakfast. I'm going to do it every 15th time. And you and Gavin do it the other time.
And I will say, I think you take this as a point of pride. But you do have a lot of shirts from Goodwill.
Yeah, that's very true. Who did you say?
I said myself.
Did you really? Yeah.
It's a way of thinking. It's a mentality that I guess that I was raised with, and it's just hard to let it go because you're doing it without even realizing you're doing it. You're like, why? Like I remember finding a dress at a consignment sale, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And I looked up the original price. It was like in the 200s or something.
And what was it at the sale?
It was at the sale for $12.
And you didn't get it?
Well, I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I love it, but it's $12.
Oh
like
my
that's insane.
gosh.
It was insane because typically a dress at this consignment store costs maybe $6. So this was they were asking double the price.
That's it. Yeah.
And then my mom had to say, but Betty, it's just $12
You got
and you
it.
love it.
Yeah.
And she was right, but I needed that wake-up call for some reason. I don't know. I just hang on to it.
No, I get it.
Because I'm a single woman and I have to watch out for myself.
Having that mentality is not the worst thing in the world because it will keep you from making bad decisions.
Right.
And there are a lot of people that don't put any thought into it and they're broke.
Exactly.
And so I think there's probably a hybrid to that. Like I definitely will obsess over dumb things and not spend the money on it. I'm like, why did I not do that? That was really ridiculous. I made this so much harder on myself. And so I understand that. You have that mentality. So there you go. We would have gotten that right if you had said Betty. That was a clean sweep. So if you want to play the game with us, we got a prize for you. 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. You'll get 3 questions, and all you got to do is get 2 out of 3 right. Just match the majority, and you can win that prize. 855-33-WAY-FM. When you think you really know someone, it's great. But if you think you really know someone on this show, you can actually win a prize. We're doing Who on the Show here on Uplifting Way FM and The Wally Show. And all you have to do is tell us who on the show is most likely to. We're all going to vote on it as well. And if you match the majority, you get a point. If we don't have a consensus, then how could you possibly know? So you'll also get a point for that. So your odds at winning this game are pretty good, especially if you've listened to the show for any length of time. Let's do a practice round here. I'm just curious. Who on the show tries to act poor? Who on the show tries to act poor? We'll all get our guesses down. And again, we can say ourselves too, so you know that going in. Okay, everybody got your guesses down?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with you, Gavin. Who did you say?
Oh, I'm going to go with you got Betty,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't have an insane amount of stuff to back that up with, but you don't buy a lot of things for yourself. But I know you're frugal.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, just buy it.
Yeah, I'm going with Betty too, because Betty is. She always says, I'm just a single girl and I got to fend for myself. She is squirreling away money like nobody's business. And then she's like, well, I can't pay for that. Why? Well, I'm gonna. Here's what we're gonna do. I know we all take turns buying breakfast. I'm gonna do it every 15th time, and you and Gavin do it the other time.
And I will say, I think you take this as a point of pride. but you do have a lot of shirts from Goodwill.
Yeah, that's very true. Who did you say?
I said myself.
Did you really? Yeah.
It's a way of thinking. It's a mentality that I guess that I was raised with, and it's just hard to let it go because you're doing it without even realizing you're doing it. You're like, why? Like I remember finding a dress at a consignment sale, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And I looked up the original price. It was like in the 200s or something.
And what was it at the sale?
It was at the sale for $12.
And you didn't get it?
Well, I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I love it, but it's $12.
Oh
like
my
that's insane.
gosh.
It was insane because typically a dress at this consignment store costs maybe $6. So this was they were asking double the price.
That's it. Yeah.
And then my mom had to say, but Betty, it's just $12
You got
and you
it.
love it.
Yeah.
And she was right, but I needed that wake-up call for some reason. I don't know. I just hang on to it.
No, I get it.
Because I'm a single woman and I have to watch out for myself.
Having that mentality is not the worst thing in the world because it will keep you from making bad decisions.
Right.
And there are a lot of people that don't put any thought into it and they're broke.
Exactly.
And so I think there's probably a hybrid to that. Like I definitely will obsess over dumb things and not spend the money on it. I'm like, why did I not do that? That was really ridiculous. I made this so much harder on myself. And so I understand that. You have that mentality. So there you go. We would have gotten that right if you had said Betty. That was a clean sweep. So if you want to play the game with us, we got a prize for you. 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. You'll get 3 questions, and all you got to do is get 2 out of 3 right. Just match the majority, and you can win that prize. 855-33-WAY-FM. You know, you think you really know someone. That's a saying that we all say. Hey, it's the Wally Show on Uplifting Way FM, and we're going to find out how well you actually know some of the members of the show, Sharon. And I'm going to give a statement about who on the show is most likely to something. You're going to pick somebody, and if you match the majority of what we said, you will get a point. You get 2 out of 3 right, you win a prize. So here we go. First statement. Makes new best friends but can't remember their names. Makes new best friends but can't remember their names. Let's write our answers down while you think, Sharon. All right, Sharon, who do you think the most people said forgets people's names?
Wally.
Okay,
That
Wally.
was
You
easy.
didn't even hesitate, and you said it was easy. All right, Gavin.
I went with you as well, actually, because I think you've self-prescribed yourself with like a little disease of face recognition.
Blindness.
Yeah,
yes, face
go.
blindness. Yes. I make friends quickly, but I forget their names quickerly. And there are people here that, I've had 1,000 conversations with, I've known for years, and there's times where I still go, wait, is her name Michelle? So I said me too as well. Betty Rock?
Let me tell you a little story. I was on a flight with Wally, and he was like, I'm not talking to anybody. Everybody just talks to me. I don't want to talk to nobody. So when we got off that flight, I said, oh, I saw you talking to the lady that was sitting right next to you. And he's like, oh, yeah, her blood type is this. Her son is in the Navy. He's coming home. He's got 2 boys and a girl. And I said, well, what's her name? Oh, I don't know.
Couldn't tell you. All right, well, you got that one right. Majority rules. Nicely done. Who on the show makes a terrible first impression? So you got to get your answer down. We got to get ours down. Let's see. Sharon, who would you say?
Gavin.
Gavin makes a horrible first impression.
Why would you say that, Sharon?
I don't really know. I just listening to the show.
She doesn't like Gavin. That's it. Betty, who did you say?
I said Wally.
Me?
Yes. I said, wait, what was the question again?
Who makes a terrible first impression?
Okay. I would say Wally because Wally finds pleasure. He finds pride in telling people that he can't even remember their name. Okay,
Yeah.
keep that in mind because he just met them. Can't remember their name, but he will be the first to tell them all the bad things he's done in his life. And he takes pride in it.
I know. I lead with
weird.
that. I tell all the horrible things I've ever done in radio to people that I've just met because I think it's funny. And I just want to see their tolerance. And okay, do you find this funny too?
But that's making a horrible first impression.
Absolutely. Noted. I know it about myself. I said me too. Gavin, who'd you say?
I said you just because I think Betty and I are more likely to be like, oh, sweetheart.
Yeah, although Betty Rock can be a little standoffish. I was on the fence, but then her example of me is dead on. So not Gavin. All right, here we got to get this one right. Who can be convinced of anything? Who can be convinced of anything? So let's get our answers
Betty.
down. Oh, that was really quick.
Rude.
Holy cow. Okay. Gavin, who did you say?
I actually wrote myself down because I think I'm actually a very gullible human being.
You are very gullible,
Yeah.
and you're trusting. That would say trusting. Betty, who did you say?
I definitely wrote gullible Gavin.
Oh, nice. And I, too, said gullible Gavin. So not a point there. You know what? It didn't work out today, Sharon, but you were a delight. We have a lovely parting gift for you playing the show.
Yay!
And it's kind of a win for us. Yay! We found out she doesn't like Gavin for some reason.
Yeah, where'd that come from?
Gavin.
Gavin is always looking for the latest information on some of your Christian artists, your favorite ones, and maybe not your favorite ones, like this one. No, I'm just kidding.
Come on now. No. This is one of my
I know. Hey, it's the Wally Show on Uplifting Way FM. So, who do you have today?
All right, this is Danny Gokey. You might know him from his song Haven't Seen It Yet.
It's like the brightest sunrise. Wait on the other side of the darkest night. Don't ever
That high voice in the back.
That's him.
That is him?
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable.
You heard it here first.
Super talented.
I know. That's crazy. I'm like, what lady did he get to help him with this song? That's
was
him.
All Danny.
Wow.
So good. But one thing that's kind of cool about him and his family right now is that it's not insanely unique, but they have a bunch of like chicks that they're hatching with an incubator right now.
I think that's kind of unique. Like I would not want to raise chicks.
No,
I'm
me
always
neither.
tempted to buy them when I go to Farmers or Tractor Supply, like around Easter, and
Really?
they have a bunch of them. They're so cute, and they're like 50 cents each.
Well, and if you go to his Instagram, you can see the little like family of chicks that they're having. It is funny. They're naming all the chicks after buffalo chicken wing names from the buffalo
That's
menu.
insensitive.
Asian zing, garlic, lemon pepper was the recent one that was born.
It's funny.
Super funny. But aside from that, Danny actually had this moment when he put a little spiritual twist on a chick that was hatching out of his eggshell.
It has worked for hours just to get that whole. I bet you this chicken, if it was a human, would be all discouraged, depressed, because, I put work in and I'm not out my egg yet. But look at him. He's being consistent and he's breaking through the egg. Now, science says if you break the egg for the chicken, it makes the chicken weaker in life. It's kind of like the tests in life. Tests in life are to make us stronger. Breaking through that shell is making this chicken stronger, making it more resilient, setting it up to be successful as a chicken in life. I think God puts us through the same type of tests. To develop our character, is it kind of cruddy that we have to do hard things? It is, but hard things make good character. I saw this and I was like, you know what? There's such a moment in creation that God even teaches us lessons with these moments.
There you go. That is a great perspective on a chicken that's going to get eaten.
No.
They're doing eggs, right?
They are, and they're going to raise them. But that chicken that was born was literally named Lemon Pepper. So.
Oh, yeah.
Little Lemon Pepper is already teaching us new
But you know what?
things.
He is right, though. But it's the trials in life,
Yeah.
the things that we hate the most are usually the things that help refine us and build our character. And, we don't enjoy it. But if you're being honest, that's where a lot of times your faith grows the most, because you become more reliant on God and not anyone else.
Can you say that again, but let me record it to play back for you when you're getting road rage?
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, I'd rather not, actually. That's totally different.
Oh, sure. Well, that's the end, but it doesn't have to be. Check out our Aftercast. It's new stuff you didn't hear in the podcast. Be sure to rate us on iTunes, as well as connect with us on social media. Just search Wally Show. And if you'd like to join our Facebook group made exclusively for you potties, the link is in the description of this podcast. Thanks to Colorado Christian University Online for supporting what we do.